Paulson, and I'm very excited to do this opening panel for y'all today. Is everybody excited just to be at FanExpo Boston? I would certainly hope so. Now, these two folks that are going to come out here, I need a warmer welcome than you gave me, okay? Because you're like, who dat? And it doesn't matter, but we know these two folks. So, I would love for us to give the warmest FanExpo Boston welcome to Rob Paulson and Maurice Lamarche. No. I did both at the same time. I hope that's okay. This is so great. This is the opening panel for the whole expo. No. There's ghosts in the back. They're big fans. So, listen, if you don't mind, I looked up some really fun Boston facts. So what I'd love to start off is for you to pick a number between 1 and 6, and that's what fact I will share to start the panel.
17.
17?
I don't know, what is it? 4.
4. The fact that you get, which I don't know if it's a fact, but it says on Wikipedia that it's illegal to make clam chowder with tomatoes in Boston.
Oh.
Right? Okay, fascinating. Have you all been to Boston before? Is this a fact that you were aware of?
Yes. My wife and I just got into a whole thing about Manhattan clam chowder versus Boston clam chowder. So she's a New Yorker, and so she just feels that the tomatoes must find their way into it, or it's not really clam chowder.
I see.
And Mo was actually a killer tomato years ago.
That's where we first really bonded. Exactly, the killer tomatoes. Is my mic cutting out by any chance?
No.
No, because it's kind of loose. It's kind of weird. It's kind of
Well, we give you the loose one for a reason.
Because, yeah.
Great. So I also have a very fun game to play. Is that okay?
Sure.
We'll start out. It's a real quick one. So it's called This or That, and then I'm going to ask them a few questions, and then we have 2 microphones, one here and one in that aisle, and we'll try and get to as many fan questions as we can. But first off, this is a lightning round.
Oh boy.
This or that, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Coffee.
Coffee, great.
Coffee.
A beach or the lake?
The lake.
The lake.
Yeah? Same. Okay, I was expecting beach more. How about Coke or Pepsi?
Sterno. Really get you where you want to go real fast.
Yeah.
Pepsi, actually.
Yeah? Because, what about you?
I prefer Diet Coke.
Yes.
I never drink the sugar stuff. But
No, right. Yeah, well, the Coke Zero now this is not an ad for Coke at all. It's very good. How about if you could fly or be invisible?
I'd fly.
Yeah? What's your
I used to
reasoning?
think I would want to fly, but then I saw the show Heroes, of which I got to be a part of. I was the voice of Siler before they cast Zach. And Nathan, who's the senator who can fly, has a great point. He says, at one point he goes, all I can do is fly. I can't do anything else. So what am I supposed to do? Put on a costume and rescue cats from trees? What if I pass out while I'm flying? I'm invincible. And I thought, you know what?
That's a great point.
Having just flying as a superpower would kind of fucking suck.
It would. So you're choosing invisibility?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel invisible most of the time anyway, so.
Hey,
it would work.
that's wonderful. How about, do you prefer NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Oh man.
These are really hard to
NSYNC is where I watch my unmentionables, so
In sync or back? Well, we're in Boston,
Yeah.
so I guess I would have to say Backstreet Boys.
Okay, great.
To make sure I'm playing to the crowd.
Yeah. Earlier I said I was from Philadelphia and I got booed, so. All right, great. So, the final one I have is, would you rather be able to speak all languages or speak to animals?
Well, you know, if I could talk to the animals, just imagine it. Just imagine chatting with a chimp and chimpanzees. Imagine chatting with a tiger or with a puma. What a neat achievement that is.
achievement it would be.
I could converse in polar bear and python.
And also, why can't a woman be more like a man? Yes, why can't a woman? Let's just just do Rex Harrison
In
songs.
fact, if somebody said, can you speak rhinoceros? I said, of course it is, can't you?
I would much rather speak all languages. I just
Yeah,
don't-
me too.
I feel that if I learned to talk to an animal, I would learn that
They hate us.
and understood that there's really not much going on there. Food,
Yeah.
eat, you know, and that's it.
Well, I talked as an animal on more than one occasion,
That's
obviously.
why I asked.
But there was one particular critter who was very astute and very self-aware. In fact, his first lines were, "Where are my testicles this summer?" And as a human male, I can understand that that can be quite disconcerting.
Legit question.
Yes.
To begin the day.
Yes. So,
Fantastic.
but I'm like with Mo. I would love to be able to speak all languages. I think that would be.
I know, and to understand them, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the other part.
I-
I speak them, but
I would love that. I'm so impressed by folks who have.
More than one.
Oh my goodness! Well, you had growing up in Canada now. You guys had to learn French from day one, didn't you?
Well, no, actually, believe it or not, we did not speak French in the house, so I feel very separate from my cousins, who all are fluent.
Yeah.
But because my mother was an Anglophone, my dad, out of courtesy to her, only spoke English in the house. So my brother and I are the only cousins that don't speak French.
Or monolingual.
Yeah, we're just monolingual, and I can speak French, Canadian, English. I do that very well there, eh? Maurice?
there it is. I was like, we need to hear it.
Right there.
I have, for breakfast, I have 2 eggs, side by each, with a pair of toast. And a Pepsi. Maurice.
Have you
That's
ever, because if you could speak all languages, have you ever watched any of the shows you voice in a different language and someone
Yeah.
else interpreted it?
Yeah, we used to.
You know what?
That's essentially what Animaniacs in Concert is we get.
Especially with the full orchestra show.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
But we're not a tribute band.
No,
That's
we
the
really
cool thing. We get to,
Yeah, you get it.
we get to really do it. And when you're standing in front of that many world-class players,
Yeah.
it's quite emotional. When they start playing, it's like, holy shit, this is what we live for.
Yeah.
And then the audience is just blown away. And then when we have a period in which we have a
Experience, like with I mean, I think that's what's interesting about, well, first of all, I'm gonna go back a step. Choosing voice acting, was that something that you collectively were like, I'm gonna crush it? Or were you more like, let's try this, and then that's the path that sort of,
Yeah, my story is that I fell sideways into it. I was a stand-up comic, and I was, going after an on-camera career. And, I was one night in the audience at the Comedy Store, was the voiceover agent from the agency that I was with for personal appearances, stand-up comedy, that type of thing. And she just came up to me afterwards and said, would you like to, I think with all the voices you do, you'd be a natural for voiceovers, with all the impressions. And I said, well, I'm friends with Frank Welker, and, he's been, recommending me all around town, but I don't get any, I guess I can do it, I don't know. It was like that, it was literally like that. And she sent me out for a full year before I ever booked a job. And the first thing I got was a Southwest Airlines commercial with Hector Elizondo, and then an episode of The Littles, and then an episode of a show called Wolf Rock TV with the actual Wolfman Jack, and then Inspector Gadget. And I went from this one session here and a session there to you got a series. And so I learned that sitting, I could sit for 22 weeks with Don Adams and hear great stories about the making of Get Smart, not have to memorize, not have to sit in a makeup chair, and just listen to him and every 3 or 4 pages, come in with, here's your assignment, Gadget, and then have it blow up in my face and go, and then they sent me a check, and I was like, well, this is a pretty good life, and then right into real Ghostbusters, and that was like 160 episodes, and that just took off.
yes, you can applaud that, are you kidding me? That's amazing.
We like knowing you're there.
Yeah, please.
I'm not dissimilar. I, like most people, came to California ostensibly to do. I was a singer first, who became an actor, and toured around the country and stuff. And I was doing it. St. Elsewhere, MacGyver, in those days, on Hill Street, and a bunch of commercials. And mid-'80s, my agent essentially said, "You ever thought about doing animation because you sing in character, blah blah blah. You improvise." I said, "Sure, but this many people did all of it. This was before satellite, before animation channels and all that, the ubiquity of Disney movies like every other week.
Yeah.
And man, the first shows I did were G.I. Joe and Transformers, and I watched all these actors, many of whom I recognized from episodic television growing up in the 70s. And it was the purest form of play acting. Okay, Peter Bonners, you're going to be the bad guy, and Marshall Wallace, you're going to be the damsel in distress. And it was
They only cast it from the Bob Newhart show?
It was all Bob Newhart. Then Jack Riley came in.
Yeah.
And
It's funny because on Real Ghostbusters, Lorenzo Music was the original voice of Venkman, and he created the Bob
Bob
Newhart
Newhart
show.
show. Yeah. But the point was that I recognized all these people and they're having the best time. And having just come from an audition where, okay, Rob, you're reading for a young father who's a heroin addict, 28 to 32, and everybody in the room looked like they could have been a relative.
Right.
But here, it had nothing to do with anything but my chops and my ability to keep up. And man, am I glad that I went down that road, because now people still don't care what we look like.
Exactly. I just went to an audition yesterday where I drove an hour. I showed them what I can do for 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and then drove 40 minutes home. And I was like,
And half the time it's whether or not you fit the suit. It's not about
that's it.
And I-
Yeah.
Well, the right eye color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once I'm too tall. Last week I was too young. I was like, I'm 42. I've never been told I'm too young at this point.
I'm still waiting for the one where I get, you're too talented. That has not yet happened.
Listen,
It's always, you do that talent you purport to have, could
Right.
you use it on this
I
stage?
need you to do less of your talent.
That's right. But no, it's, we, all of us who are so fortunate to do this, we're D. Baker's here this weekend, and we know exactly
Yeah.
how unbelievably fortunate we are. And Dee just got nominated for a Primetime Emmy.
Did he get nominated? Oh, good. He deserved it.
And, yep, for American
Yeah.
Dad.
Fantastic.
I think that's also a testament to, obviously, we've created more work
Yeah.
for that range of a performance.
Oh, man.
And therefore, there's just, because so many more people are watching, because
Sure.
it's a little easier to make animation now. So I think that's exciting.
When everybody wants to do it.
Yeah.
The last iteration of Ninja Turtles I was on, we had a 13-episode arc in which David Tennant played a character, and he came to work, and I was just like, oh my God.
I would have just fainted, threw up, and then died. And
I'm
then
such a huge, I don't know much about Doctor Who, but I saw David, I was,
brilliant actor.
yeah, on a show he did called Broadchurch.
Oh my gosh.
Really?
With
And so-
Olivia Colman?
Yes,
Woo!
Olivia freaking Colman. So
He's a god.
I said, David, what a pleasure. And I said,
Were you directing him?
No.
This was the one you directed.
Yeah, and essentially what I was trying to suggest is, how come you're here doing this?
Yeah.
You know? And so he's a smart guy. And I said, Jesus, it's so cool to have you. He said, dude, this is Ninja fucking Turtles. He said, I don't know if you understand what it means to everyone to be part of the Turtles. And he was thrilled to be there. So it's pretty cool. You know?
That's
Same thing with Pinky and the Brain. We have so many. Carrie Owens has become a dear friend of the
Yep. We had Eric Idle.
Eric Idle played my parents.
Yeah. Both of them.
Both of them. Narv, it was great.
Oh my goodness.
And Roddy McDowell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Roddy McDowell, dear
before
friend.
we get to our lovely fan questions, my question is, which of you thinks that you're more like your character? Do you think you're more like Brain? Do you think you're more, or do you think it's opposite? What do you think?
Well, I've always said that in real life, he's the genius and I'm innocent. But in terms of the Brain's character, I am definitely well suited to play him. I can be a bit of a curmudgeon. I feature exasperation more than I should in my life. That part of Brain is definitely me. I definitely lack his intelligence, but well, I mean, he's got an IQ of like 210. I'm a mere 150.
Yeah.
So.
That's 150 Canadian.
Right.
Which is about 72 American.
Conversion rate's tough. How about you?
You are an optimist. You are the eternal optimist.
I am a relentlessly optimistic person. I am smart enough to know what I don't know, which turns out is a lot.
Sure.
And I
Most of us.
have this peculiar, watch this, I have this peculiar desire to say, Narf!
Yes!
You are brilliant.
It's amazing.
Can we just give this lady a
Yes,
hand?
please. Oh my goodness.
That is the most wonderful thing, honestly. And what's really great is when Yakko starts going, United States, Mexico. And her hands are like,
Yeah, they have like arms of steel.
You've got some great impressions.
well, I do more depressions.
No.
And it's not
You're Don Knotts. You're Don Knotts.
well, I do a bad impression of Jeff Bennett's perfect impression. But my point is and with The Mask, it was a little bit different because I'm doing an impression of Jim Carrey doing The Mask. And it was a little more unique for me because we did, I think, 26 episodes, so I had to do essentially 13 hours of The Mask. And I had an absolute blast, and I did. Sometimes I think I looped him in movies like, Liar Liar, with Carrie Ellis was in that. Yeah. And sometimes, movies have four-letter words, and so for the plane, it used to be that you had to dub in, and they would, bless you, they would call me to come in and say, a nice word versus Jim
Did you ever
Carrey.
get to do the claw part?
I never,
Liar, liar.
no, I never did. All I did was The Mask, and I got to bounce off the walls, and I got to sing the best animated theme song I've ever sung in my life. The theme song to The Mask was written by two guys named Keith Baxter and Chris Nelson, and it swings. I mean, it freaking swings.
What was like kind of the genesis of Animaniacs, kind of getting that started? Were there any like struggles in what you guys were trying to do, and where did Narf come from? Also,
Narf, as far as I know,
What is a Narf? Can you tell me?
This is
Mine tells me what that is.
philosophical, deep.
I think it's Fran backwards. I don't know, maybe somebody who wrote the show had a wife named Fran. I don't know where Narf came from.
Well,
You do know that Eddie Fitzgerald
Yes.
would pitch when Eddie, who is the human inspiration for Pinky.
Less hard.
Except that he's very bright. The only thing is, both Tom Minton and Eddie Fitzgerald are very bright men. And but Eddie has this very high energy thing, and he would pitch shows. When he'd pitch episodes, he would supply the sound effects. So and then he'd come in and hit the guy's sword right in the face, and then and then twang right down on him.
And then you would do this, and you go, Narf.
Yeah. I don't want to. Nobody knows where Narf came from.
Yeah.
But my theory is it's Fran backwards.
Yeah. In terms of the struggles, that really is the hardest part about our gig, about any actor, is getting the gig. No one shoves a gun in your mouth to be an actor. So I gave myself about 30 seconds to feel sorry for myself when I did not get the fourth call back. Because ain't nobody made me do this. This is my choice.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah, the struggle, I
that
think,
also is
the struggle is more in the writing. I think our creators, they're the ones that birthed all these characters.
Yeah, Tom Ruger, his crew, they had already done their homework on Tiny Toon Adventures, and when you have Steven Spielberg as the guy who says, whatever you need. I mean, are you kidding me? You gotta work to screw it up. However, Tom and his group, and Gene McCurdy at that period was the head of one of those animations. It really was.
I was just wondering, this is for Rob, I was just wondering how it was doing like voice work for the Jimmy Neutron ride that used to be at Universal Studios.
I think it sucked out loud. I hate those people. No, anytime you get paid American dollars to do essentially without your trouble in high school, it's a great day. Thank you for asking me to stay away from Jimmy's mouth.
What is that?
How often when you're in the booth does the script get changed either by you or the director or the writer because you think, oh, maybe you should say it this way instead?
Well, there's a fair bit of fun to be had. Although I don't like to mess with Brain too much. He was fully formed and very well written. So stuck to the script on that. You like to improvise the Are You Ponderings and came up with
They would just roll tape in those days. They would just roll tape and there would be all these really non sequitur answers to you pondering and I'm pondering. So the odder the better, yeah.
I'll tell you a show I worked on where we do a lot of rewriting while we're doing it, mostly by Matt Groening. was Disenchantment. If you're not watching or didn't get a chance to watch Disenchantment, 5 seasons on Netflix. It's Matt describes it as a drama with jokes. And but we would just rewrite on the fly. There'd be a lot of freedom to improvise, and Matt would just come over and give me a little piece of paper and say this. Like, and don't, like, he didn't tell anybody else what it was, he didn't pitch it, and I would just say the thing, and then the room would crack up, and we know we'd have to go back to the beginning, because we're recording, but, so we had a lot of, like, freedom to create there.
Thank you.
I have loved Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain for literally ever, but I've always wondered, how many takes did it take for you to sing the countries of the world?
1. I was there, he got it in the first take.
Well,
He did a safety take, but they used take 1.
and that is true, and again, I'm generally the wonderful, grateful beneficiary of all that love, but I live in LA. You could throw a dart and hit a good singer. And the fact that it might piss them off notwithstanding, you can't find someone who can write that stuff. And the bottom line is, this is how high the bar was set musically. When I got the job, a lot of it was dependent upon my ability to sing. But the first song I recorded, the first song that was written, original music for Animaniacs, was Yakko's World.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the song where you start, then you know you're onto something pretty damn special. And it's Randy Rogel. Remember that name?
Rogel.
Oh man,
Yeah,
that guy is
that's the kind of thing you'll see if you come to our Animaniacs and concert show.
every song. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Beetlejuice.
Thank you very much.
Both of you.
Oh, sorry.
If Pinky and the Brain were not mice, what animals would you want them to be?
Oh,
I thought
gazelles.
you always wanted to be a capybara.
Yeah, I thought we should be gazelles. I don't know why.
Gazelles, like Gazelle McKenzie.
His tails moving. I don't know. That's a very interesting question.
I don't know.
I guess.
I love otters. I think otters are so great. We could have our show take place in outer space.
These are great
I
jokes.
guess apes would be interesting. I mean, they still have that conceit of being trapped in a lab and having to break out and all of that. So, apes,
Apes.
which is basically
Apes and otters.
We are
I think
anyway.
an ape and an otter is what we're on
Not
to.
everyone's.
That's
Yes.
Well, as you can see, I am Yakko today.
Thank you very much. You're much more handsome than I. Mind you, that's not a really high bar.
Since you two have done a lot of voice acting work and have had a very long history, what would you say was your favorite role out of all the ones that you've done?
I had a cinnamon roll this morning. Honestly, and I say this, I'm kind of only half kidding, the next one, because I'm better now than I was 5 years ago, and I don't think I'm as good as I will be down the road. That's my personal goal, is to always get better and better. It'd be very difficult to not pick Pinky and the Brain. I don't just say this because Mo is here. We really do love each other, and we're so easy to be with one another. We confide in one another. We know what makes each other laugh, and to be able to have that kind of confidence in a partner is something that, like, before we go on and do anything, it's like, oh shit, we're gonna kill him. We're gonna kill him because we know what's coming.
Yeah.
And it's because of this.
Oh yeah, I have someone like that in my life, and it's like whatever we do.
Yeah, so that's kind of
It's
my.
kind of like asking if a dad whose favorite child is, but yet every parent sort of does have one. At least they don't love one more than the other, but they have one that they maybe get along with. And for me, I mean, I've had the opportunity to play so many wonderful characters, Futurama, and I got to pick up a couple of Emmys for it, and I love Kif. You know, I love Kif Kroger. He's got that, soft, gooey center, and yet there's a hero inside of him.
I love the hedonism.
Goodbye. Listen, I love a couch as well. But Brain has got such a special place in my heart. He's so multi-layered that, and I, as an actor, I so relate to his ability to dust himself off after being thwarted and get back to the lab to plan for tomorrow night.
What are we going to do tomorrow?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world. resilience.
And we have,
Yes, my friend.
hi.
The obligatory, which was your favorite segment of Animaniacs?
Oh my God.
Are you wacko today? You've got your wacko hat on backwards. Oh, no, it's a do-rag, I see.
Oh, yes.
Oh, you're Rosie the Riveter.
I love it.
Oh, sorry.
Fantastic.
That's where my ego goes. The favorite segment, boy, I don't know. I'm Pinky in the Brain. My favorite episode is, without question, the Christmas episode. Every time I watch it,
Yeah.
I weep. I know what's coming. It's so goddamn cute and precious, and it's authentic. It's great. People love that.
Very sweet episode, and it was the episode that stole the primetime Emmy away from The Simpsons. Yeah. First time any primetime show beat out The Simpsons for best animated show. I also love, though, if I'm not going to jump on the same answer, I love the episode where Brain goes and makes up a fairy tale, where he's not Johnny Appleseed, but he's so it's called A Legendary Tale, and he just assimilates all these various characters from mythologies because he's going to create his own story to enthrall the masses. That one to me I don't know why it makes me laugh. There's so much good deadpan in that episode.
I also like the one where you played Norman Brain and the knockoff of A Star Is Born.
Broadway Malady, another great,
Freaking
both
amazing.
great Gordon Bressack,
Yeah.
Charlie Howell scripts, and the one, our first half-hour episode, the one where it's medieval times.
Oh yeah. Oh, my dragon to sleepy line. Yeah. How does your dad make a living?
I'll be the bad guy. We have time for one more question.
Okay.
I'll be the baddie, so go ahead. Hi.
Are you Tinkerbell?
No.
Oh, sorry. I am.
Well, this question's for Rob. What do you think is easier for you? Is it singing? Is it voice acting? Or are they both equally easy or difficult?
Yes. They're the former. Difficult is a relative term. Difficult is being a cop. Difficult is being a teacher. That's a difficult gig. I love my work so much. I like things that are challenging because I like to overcome and rise to the occasion because I've learned at the feet and the voices of the best people in the world. But some of them are more onerous, maybe a little more difficult, but not hard, not challenging in the most wonderful way because I'm here because I want to be. This is the best job. Who has a job where you go home from a weekend like this with all you lovely people, and Mo and I are exhausted from saying thank you? Who has a job like that? And so, thank you.
Yeah.
It's very kind of you.
Do we have time to, if we just give the one-word answers, can we get everybody through the line?
Yeah.
Okay, next person.
Thank you.
Quickly.
Go Lions! Yeah, baby!
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Thank you.
We're gonna make it.
I just wanted to know, when it was time to bring back Animaniacs
Yes.
in 2020, 2021, was it difficult for the writing process to come up with like topics or like skits based on like what the world was going through with the pandemic and all that stuff?
Well, it didn't seem to be.
Not to them, yeah.
We had a whole new writing staff. They were young and they were hip and they were smart and educated. And so they did, I think they did a baller job coming up with new stuff for the characters and bring them into the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
finally, our last question.
We
So
got
you can
one
stand there for
more.
nothing.
Hi.
Yes, hello, I love you both. I have Rob's book here.
Oh, thank you.
It's full of so many great stories. It's probably hard to choose, but this question's for both of you. What would you say is like your favorite experience while recording that you've had, either with each other or just in general?
Favorite experience. I would say the tongue twister episode of Pinky and the Brain. In other words, it's like it was great having done it. Doing it was very difficult. I probably blew more lines than anybody. And then next was John Oshita, the fast talking guy in the world. He blew the next fewer lines, and he blew no lines. He's unbelievable. That's why I say he's a genius, and I would say. But we had so much fun laughing, breaking up, we trying to record that thing, that it's actually a show that it's a script we'll pull out and have cast people from the audience And
great.
we'll have people come up and play the episode with us. So we haven't done that in a while. We should do
No,
that.
we should do that. By the way, thank you for buying the book, and it is a multi-purpose tome. If you have a table that has a leg that's a little short, you shove it in that table, and right away, boom, stable table.
Posters.
Yeah,
You open it up to the page with my picture on it, just set your glass.
it's great. We're starting a fire each page. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. It's very sweet of you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.